Okay, yeah. Wow, I look like a wild mess. It just goes to show what kind of week it was. Hello. Thank you for joining. Anyone that will be watching and joining me. I'm excited to this is what I think my fourth video I think that I've done with the lives. And it's been a week. I don't know about you. I'm gonna take a minute here. It's been a week. It's definitely been a week. I know that in astrology, there's a lot of energy in Aries, which is good. I like that to some degree because I am an Aries, and that's awesome. But there is a lot of fire. So I know myself, I have been a little fiery lately. There's definitely been, I'd say, a lot of moments where I'm really being stretched in various ways to watch my my temper, to watch my frustration, kind of like those moments where you've been through stuff and you just kind of get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, I need a breather, right? I need a pause. I'm wondering if anybody can relate to that or has felt the intensity right now of all this fiery energy. Maybe it's been making you feel like you have to go, 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 or do things and move quickly, and like you're running out of time. Or maybe you found yourself short fused and feeling a little spent, or less tolerant, I would say. Um, but it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts. I think when I looked at the astrology, collectively, we're pretty much all water and fire right now. So that's a really good combination. So, yeah, I know I've had my share of emotions and intensity. So, yeah. Well, I'm excited though to be vulnerable and honest and real because I think sometimes we can kind of look at what is presented. It's like everything is so polished and clean, and sometimes it can feel like we hear a lot of the after and not so much in the middle. So it's can be easy to be all, you know, composed and on the other side, and you're like, yeah, it's great. But I think that we're all going through so much collectively that really, I don't think anybody is in a position hardly that they're not in some way kind of meeting their edges or bumping against things that are inspiring different things or stretching or encouraging you to kind of move more forward into your true essence, your completeness. And I think that that completeness is not in escaping the human experience, but in understanding that we are both. And it seemed like my journey, at least for the first 40 some years of my life, was bumping up against things in the human world and pretty much clueless to anything spiritual. And then after my awakening, everything was spiritual, everything. And especially in the last 2 years of my life, I've realized that it's more about both. It's it's not that you won't have a bad day. I mean, I shared in my shorts, I had a panic attack. The last couple days, I did. There's been a lot of uncomfortable, challenging situations, and I have been trying to navigate them the best that I can. And while I see the positive sides and the beautiful things have come through, the opportunities, there was still a lot of repressed emotion that being in difficult situations I wasn't honoring, and it had to come out. So, um, my body hasn't been happy about that. I was on a heating pad before I came on here, but I think that that's kind of also the point, is that I don't think there's I don't think the goal is to reach a point where I used to think that, I'll say it this way. I used to think that if I was healed enough, if I was spiritual enough, if I was composed enough, if I confronted all of my shadows, that I would just achieve this balanced, unfazed state of essence. I wouldn't be offended. I wouldn't get upset. I wouldn't get angry. And I realized that that was probably in part my Capricorn moon talking. That's like, oh yeah, we don't want those emotions. We don't need those emotions. But that's not human. If that's what the goal was, then why did I incarnate? Where I think part of the goal is in understanding that we are going to have bad days. We are going to have challenges. I mean, we're going through so much collectively. Every day you see something new, something that is, you know. And I think we're all just finding our way through. And I think part of that is recognizing what we want to live, how we want our world to look, what we want to take with us, what we want to embody within our essence and ourself. And I think that's all important. So, all right, well, I told you part of the reason why I wanted to do this was connection, and that means being honest with where I am. And so, thank you if you listened and if you related. You're not alone. Whether on the replay or otherwise, don't be afraid to say, yeah, it's been a rough week, or I'm having a bad day. I think that one thing that is helpful that my partner said to me after going through the experience I have, he said, a reminder, which he's told me at least one or maybe one gazillion times, and that's, you have to walk down sad street, but you don't want to kind of take shop up and pitch a tent there and stay there forever. But you're gonna walk down sad street, kind of like the movie we were talking about this morning of the animation Inside Out. So my son is on the spectrum, and I can remember watching that movie with him when he was a kid, and it was helpful for him to kind of see the different emotions and understand them. And the whole summary of that movie is like they try to push sadness away, humor sadness, but like, no, no, no. But really, you have to accept all, right? You have to embrace all. And that's part of the human experience. So that's my little talk. I feel inclined before I go any further. If you're with me or if you're watching this on the replay, I just feel really inclined that I want to kind of channel I mean, I guess you could say it almost like a prayer, but channel, like, just take a moment, a breath to kind of just, if you have been going through it like I have, and your shadows are kind of not letting you escape. I got cat hair all over my sweater. He's been snuggling with me. I'm a big cat person. I just want to do something a little different this week. I would like to take a moment. If you can, just close your eyes with me and put your hand over your heart. Actually, let's do this. Put your hand over your heart. Put your hand over your belly. I want you to feel your breath. And I just want you to take this moment and this pause with me. And I'm just going to kind of channel what's coming through as a sort of like a prayer, a meditation. Just relax into your body. I want you to be here, fully present. I want you to feel a safe space. And just breathe, relax. Allow us to share this moment, feeling safe and protected. Part of the journey here is in connecting and knowing you are not alone. There is a team of guides and humans and souls, both around you and also in your coming days. That they are like-minded individuals, soul support, whether in seen or unseen realms. They're with you. I just want you to find a space in your mind that feels calm and peaceful. And just take notice. Allow it to be whatever you desire. I know for me, I often see a tree. Notice the sky. Is it day or night? The weather or breeze? What's the air feel like? Can you feel it on your skin? I want you to feel yourself relax deeper into this space. Breathing into this moment. Noticing and taking in all of the details. And I feel inclined to suggest that there's an animal that wants to sit with you in this moment. And I want you at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, to see in your mind's eye, or you may hear or feel or know this animal that is present with you in this moment. They are here today to assist you in feeling supported, seen, held, loved. And they are sharing this moment with you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. When you're ready, you can come back with me here. If you want to tell me what animal came, you can always type it in the comments or in the chat. But I know I felt at peace. It's interesting because I saw a tiger for me, but I don't know much about the spiritual representation of a tiger. I don't get tigers come often, so that's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Okay, so all right, guys. So what I want to do is I first want to say thank you so much for everybody. I already feel so much better and lighter. I don't know if you can feel the difference in the energy. I know I can. I want to thank everyone who had joined me and watched and engaged with me in my last video. And I have questions here that you guys have shared and have given me permission to explore your records and kind of go into. And I know some of you are not able to make it. But some of you said you were going to try to pop in and out. So I just want to take a moment and connect with those who had a question. And for anyone joining me for the first time, whether live or in the replay, the purpose of these videos, as I've mentioned, is for connection. If you've never stumbled upon me, my name is Cassandra Dan, and I'm a certified Galactic Astrologer. I'm also certified in Human Design and Gene Keys. I'm an Akashic Records reader, and I'm a galactic channeler, both as conscious channeling and trance channeling, which you can see some of this content throughout my channel. So part of why I'm doing this, as I said, is connection. It's not so much for practice or anything along that lines. It's just because I feel like right now we could all use a little connection and maybe even an aha moment where we feel seen or felt or understood by someone else. And that's the container that I want. So if you are watching, the way to participate is first off to understand I am very sensitive to energy signatures. So as an Akashic Records reader, if you are asking me a question as an intuitive that requires more specific guidance for your personal experience, what I'm asking is that you would include your first name, only the first name, just so I can have a sort of connection to you in that sense, and then share your question. And if you do want that more personal guidance, please type yes if you agree for me to connect to your Akashic Records or to your energy frequency to intuitively connect with your guides and give guidance as that would go. Now, if you're just curious about something in spiritual realms, or especially around the modalities I've mentioned, such as human design and galactic astrology, and you just have sort of a system or a general system type question or a general question, or you want to learn about a galactic race, or you saw something in your chart and you just in general would like to hear more about it, then there's no need to worry about any sort of giving permissions or anything like that. Just share your question in either, if you're live in the chat or if you're watching the replay, in the comments. And when you do that, it is lovely if I have a first name regardless, because some of the usernames it's hard to pronounce or know. So if you would give a name, that is beautiful. If you're not comfortable with that, that's fine too. I'll navigate around that. Just forgive me if I butcher the the pronunciation. Okay, so that said, I want to go ahead for those of you that have reached out. Again, thank you. And I want to address these questions. So I am going to start off here with Melissa. Now, Melissa, you reached out to me and we kind of had a little bit of conversation where you said you would like to know what kind of feeling I get from your energy. So, as I shared with you, that's definitely a thing where I'm connecting, and you gave me permission. Thank you for that. So, I'm going to take a moment here and connect with your energy. Now, Melissa, if you're watching this on the replay or live, I just want to invite you to, when you are listening to this, take a deep breath with me as I'm connecting, because that it's, if we look at everything as quantum, it's like there is no such thing as time, past, present, future. So I just invite you to take a pause, a breather with me as I'm connecting to your energy. And then we'll see what comes through for you as it relates to what I'm picking up connected to your energy signature, your essence. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and tune into that really quick, and we'll see what comes through. Okay, the first thing I can pick up right away is I am sensing a bit of a purple ray here with you. Although I will say it feels slightly lavender. So I'm sensing in connecting to your frequency that my guess would be that you do have an idea of that you are intuitive, yet I feel as if there's something there where either your gifts are growing or you may not completely quite feel comfortable just yet in different ways you express them. An example would be is maybe there might be certain groups of people or family members or friends that you may feel kind of okay to be open or to talk about these things. You may have a couple people that really enjoy talking to you about these things. But in general, it kind of has this energy frequency where it's still kind of growing, it's still growing roots of sorts in the sense of becoming fully comfortable with your gifts and expression and that you are intuitive. It's interesting because I'm picking up two energies with this, because in part I feel like there's some things where it almost feels like there's a sense of some situations there's more trust and allowance in your intuition, and in other situations it's almost like it doesn't feel as comfortable. Like I'm comfortable over here, not so much over here. And I just keep feeling like it might be possible, whatever this is, that it has something to do in a sense of where you feel comfortable, if I'm being honest, in speaking out. All right, I'm tuning in. Okay, I'm also hearing nature pretty strong. I'm just asking your guides if this is specific. It feels fairly specific. Okay, give me more specifics. Okay, so also, what I'm hearing is they're saying invitation. So I feel like, and there's an extra layer here because I hear nature, they say specific, then I hear grounding, and I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, nature's grounding, but it's more nuanced than that. It feels in part like an invitation. I'm not sure if you have a regular practice of grounding in nature. I am sensing if you do, there's something more nuanced to it though. It's almost as if there is, now I'm hearing element, water. Okay. So there's something about your energy right now that the element is of water is wanting to especially work with you. So I feel like it, if I had to put it into words, it's almost like if you were to take a day and you think, oh, I have this day, this opening, I don't know what I want to do. If I was you, I would go to the nearest body of water you can find and sit, because it feels as if it has a message for you. And I just heard it does. So it'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on that. All right, I'm going to see if there's one last thing that they want to share. Okay, I'm hearing strength. There's a squirrel at my window. Speaking of nature. I'm not sure if it'll be picked up on the mic, but it's very loud. I don't know, Melissa. Maybe the squirrel is coming to connect with you as well. Okay, I was hearing strength. Let me get back on track to this. I'm feeling like there may be a friction point with feel like there may be a friction point with a particular individual close to you where you're not seeing, especially seeing eye to eye. And I feel like part of this is there's something about this situation in the sense of, and it feels almost as if it's not like a big thing per se. It's just like friction. But I feel like okay, they're reminding me of the beginning and talking about like comfort in your throat chakra and your voice and your expression. I almost feel as if this situation is one of, if I'm being honest, a affair few that may come into your circle, if it hasn't already. Or maybe I'm asking, is this something now or future? I am hearing it's not. This person is already in kind of your atmosphere, but essentially it is an invitation for you to exercise feeling comfortable to kind of stepping into sharing your opinion, even if it's different, or sharing what you feel intuitively guided or led to share, even though you may think, oh, I don't know if I should. But this and others to come are situations that will be assisting to strengthen that. Okay, let me ask for clarity. Is this strength in character or strength in ability? Strength in ability. Okay, there we have it. So that's why they're saying it's not like a big friction. So okay, that's what I have for you, Melissa. I'm going to close out your records now. I will be curious to see what you think of that, what you feel of that, or what resonates. Definitely always feel into what's being shared, feel into your body, and take what resonates. Okay, so I'm going to close out your records. One moment. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next, I want to talk about Patricia's question. Now, Patricia, you asked me about a placement. You said that you have uh, Procyon trying to Lilith in Pisces 8th house at 26 degrees. Now, you said you were looking for just some general information about some of this. And then you said if anything came up in particular, that is good too. So we're going to talk about this first as it relates to I'm throwing things as it relates to general. Okay, so now for anyone listening to this, what we're talking about is in Galactic Astrology. You can pull your free Galactic Astrology chart, and in there, you use your birth information to generate this chart. And in that chart, it helps shows various degrees in that are connected to constellations and fixed stars, and it's hard to even summarize. It opens so many doors of realization of who we are, our soul's journey, our experiences, and why it's relevant in this lifetime. And this was a modality founded by Julia Blaz. So I have a video I can link in the description for you to check out if you want to know more about that. But I just wanted to give you a little basics if you're hearing it for the first time, because this is what we're talking about. Okay, so Patricia, we're going to cover the general scope. Now, I'm going to share this from my perspective of how I see these things and how I would kind of add them up for general understanding of how they could be playing out or influencing you in your life. Now, the first thing is in galactic astrology, when we're looking at trines, I look at this as it's not stating that there's a past life in particular. You'd have to go and look and see if you had, for example, Procyon in conjunct, especially, or sometimes in opposition to any of your other placements, and that would notate a past life. When we're looking at trine, generally speaking, I like to describe it as this means at some point in your journey, you have been connected with or experienced connections with Procyon, whether you incarnated there or not. And part of that experience, you had a kind of like a soul journey that allowed you to experience or grow or evolve or change in some capacity that would connect through that theme. Kind of like if I had to put it in the most basic level possible, it's like we live where we live and we may only know our culture, our community, our environment. But if we were to, let's say, for the first time, go overseas or go to a new place or go visit a tribe, go experience the way someone else experiences life, you may find that when you come home, you're like, wow, I'm going to appreciate blank differently. Wow, I recognize I normally feel frustrated with XYZ, but then I've realized there are other ways. Like, for example, let's just say technology. Maybe we are used to certain advancements, but yet we go experience something somewhere else and they don't have Wi-Fi or they don't have, televisions in every room. And you think, wow, I don't have this thing, but I have a new appreciation for how I spend my time and what unfolded in that empty space. That's a very basic general idea for those watching the replay to get a scope of what I mean when we're talking in galactic astrology about bumping into different galactic races that then influence. So then what is sort of left in that experience, realize you take with you. Kind of like if you were to travel, that experience may change the rest of your life. So you can see here how it's a journey, it's an experience, and it helps to shape you. Okay, so that's talking about trine. Now let's talk about Procyon a little bit. Now, when we're talking about Procyon, a couple things I want to do without getting in too much depth is just give you a few things that this galactic race can be connected to. One of the things I feel is that's fairly predominant is they tend to value often science over spirituality. So they like advancement, they like growth as it is related to that. Also, there can be tones here where you're looking more about the civilization, the humanitarian, and there can be a little bit of a distrust or not as keen on interest in authority or structural governments, things of that nature. They feel not as keen on that. Some of the other things that can be said, I've heard, is also people that have had past lives here can also be sensitive to food. So if you are listening to replay, maybe you pull your galactic astrology chart and you say, hey, I do have that conjunct. It would be interesting to see if you have a sensitivity to food. So leave a comment. Let me know. I'm curious if that hits. But also, they're dreamers and they are gifted when it comes to kinesthetic power. Okay, so now that we've talked about the trine, now that we've kind of talked about some of the traits, now we're going to start looking at the astrology aspect. Okay, so we have this next to Lilith. So let's digest Lilith a little bit. So Lilith can be in part where we have our deeper shadows. It can be aspects of ourselves where we're meant to go through journeys that we kind of stop hiding, repressing, or feeling like we dim, and we really embrace our power and we step forward and we kind of reclaim our presence or space in our journey. You know, there can be a lot of reflective work here with Lilith to see different shadows, different things that have influenced areas where we may have not stood up for ourselves, or sometimes, depending on, you know, each individual, it can also be areas where we can be tempered or lash out, or you know, kind of have to balance some of the emotional expressions. Now, Pisces here, I smile. I love my perspective on Pisces energy is I see this as the direct channel to God, source, universe. And considering I'm a channeler, and that's a big part of what I do. And if you're curious, anybody listening, my Mercury is in Pisces in the 5th house. So I do very much resonate with being a strong intuitive and a strong channel, because part of that Pisces, I feel, is that channel. Yes, they are dreamers and they are inspiring, but it has a different manifestation, in my opinion, than some of the other signs. To me, it's like the thing that moves you, the song that brings you to tears, you know, it comes back to that richness, that deep essence. And if you are new to astrology, also Pisces is connected to the subconscious and the collective conscious. Those are a couple other layers. Okay, next we're looking at the 8th house. This is ruled by Pluto, death, rebirth, transformation, also joint finances, and possibly karma. Now, so how do we take all these things and kind of sum them up? I'm going to give a couple general examples. And then, Patricia, I do think that I might tune into your energy specifically to see if there's anything that wants to come through more direct for you. Now, some of the expressions here could say that in this life, you are meant to confront some of the things that don't necessarily feel comfortable to you, things that don't feel or may not feel so practical or logical or clearly stated, things that you may wish to have definition or rules or structures to, but you find that actually part of the gift is in leaning into the idea that you may not know. And actually, you are allowed to kind of play with this energy, and that it is empowering and impactful, and actually it could be transformative when you allow yourself to actually embody it and share it with others. But this may feel uncomfortable and may not be something that you enjoy. Okay, another example could be in this life, you could be learning to stretch your comfort as it relates to I'm feeling into it a little bit. It's funny because I almost feel like my channel is kind of being blocked from adding more stories. So Patricia, I'm gonna tune in really quick and see here how, if I can just kind of go off of what I'm picking up on. And hello, thanks for joining. If you can hear me and you have a question, put your first name and any question, and I will tune in. What I'm trying to read, I'm Crimson. is the first thing I'm seeing. But yes, if you have a question, please connect and share with me. Okay, so Patricia, I'm going to connect to your energy here and see if your guides want to elaborate any more on what this is. So, what I'm hearing, the first word is boldness. I feel like there is an aspect of, and we can kind of look at that area of Lilith, that it's bold, it's really showing up. I'm feeling that there is a story closely related to how comfortable you feel in sharing and expressing your gifts and abilities, embodying the full essence of everything you're capable of. And there is a very potent aspect of your energy that is connected to the ability to transform others. Now, I think that where the Procyon is coming in is, if I'm being honest, I think in part it is those aspects of tug of war between perhaps science, logic, spirit, which Pisces here suggests that spirit should be more the direction that you're sharing and flowing with. And that there is this understanding about this energy. Like I said, they have kinesthetic powers. So, and they are dreamers. So I would be curious to say, are you using these gifts? Are you open with communicating about your spiritual abilities? And not just saying, oh yeah, I'm comfortable, but like really comfortable, because the eighth house is like a depth. It's powerful depth and connection. Okay, all right. All right, Light, thank you for joining. Yes, type your question in the chat and I will get to that one. I've got um, one more reading. So if your question pops up before then, I'll jump to you. But otherwise, yeah, I'll keep an eye out. All right. So Patricia, I hope this helped. But yes, I feel like I'm gonna leave it with the exploration of how that's playing out in your life. Also, I wouldn't be surprised with Lilith here too, that you're someone that is able to deal with circumstances of difficulty or like death doula, birth doula, challenging circumstances. These are things that you may naturally be able to navigate. I'm curious what you think. Okay. All right. Okay, you can ask anything you would like, as in the relation of spiritual concepts, spiritual awakening, astrology. If you do feel connected to galactic concepts such as star seeds, all of these are on the table. I'm typing if anybody's watching. I'm not great about doing them both at once. Sure. I asked for the first name just so I can connect with you, because sometimes too it's hard to tell. I like feeling like we're kind of connecting together, in this moment, and especially in providing intuitive guidance is helpful. So that's why I say I don't need your whole name. I just, first name helps me to connect. So yeah, well, I'm gonna go on to the next. Oh wait, okay, I'll try spiritual awakening in that case. Okay, so have you? My question would be: have you felt like you've had any sort of experience where you may find that you're opening yourself up to ideas to think that you might be intuitive or gifted or have certain gifts or abilities? Is there an area in your life where you've had challenge or that you just feel like, I'm trying to think of different questions, like something is changing or you're growing in ways you can't put a finger on? So there are a few angles to maybe kind of prompt a question for you. So I would need you to just be a little more specific, if you would, on kind of what in the topic of spiritual awakening might be interesting you. Even if you could say, what is a spiritual awakening? That's a question. I could talk about that too. Okay. All right. So last person that asked me a question, that's okay. You can keep thinking about it, Light. And I'm going to go to one of the questions we have, and you're welcome to listen, and something might come up that prompts a more specific question for you. Okay, so Jennifer, you had asked me to kind of connect into your energy too. Now, I know you shared with me some of your information. I on these lives, just in case anybody is just in case anybody is interested, if you are wanting to explore astrology or galactic astrology or human design, the invitation would be definitely be sure to pull your chart and then ask me the specifics of what your question would be as it would relate to a chart. So you could say, my energy is this, like I am a rising of this, or like we just covered on galactic astrology placement, this is my placement, what can you say about this? So I don't pull charts on these, just because I also want to keep your personal information and chart information respectfully within the container of a more dedicated time together. But I would love to connect to your records and see if anything that comes through for you as you were wondering how you can kind of navigate through life where you are right now. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. It'll just take me a moment. And Jennifer, when you're watching this on the replay, like I've shared with other questions, take a moment, if you will, to breathe into with me and connect. And I will see what guidance is coming through for you from your guides regarding navigating life at this moment. I can say right off the start, I'm hearing trust. I'm not sure if you may find yourself in a peculiar or pondering is another word that I'm hearing, circumstance. I feel like the word trust definitely keeps coming up multiple times again. I think that there's something to do with a direction, an aspect of your life in some capacity, something, like I said, you're pondering, that there's trust. I'm also feeling like, in part, I feel like your guides are saying that there are aspects of things that in this moment you are knowing. Um, but it's almost like it's a knowing, but it's like, man, it'll feel so much better if someone else would say to me, yes, like, do that thing. Yes, you're on the right track. So they are saying, in a sense, this trust energy is in part of that. But I do feel like there's something circling you, honestly, as it relates to, your life. I'm just going to say it doesn't feel like a relational thing. Maybe it's how you show up in the world, a gift you have, your work, your career. Um, how you participate in the community. There's something there, though, that I feel like your guides are encouraging you to trust. And it's almost like this energy that they're affirming like there's something, that they're kind of just saying, yes, trust. I'm tuning in to see what else is coming through. It's interesting because I'm picking up some of the green ray. Now, I want to share with you, in case you don't know. So, when I'm talking about, I'm seeing the green ray or green ray frequencies coming up, this says to me that there are aspects of something to do around connection, something to do around the heart that's coming up. And I feel like there's something, it feels light. This can also be nature, and this is also healing, but it feels like, this might sound silly, but it almost feels like there's something that is like a hobby or an interest, something that's like new that wants to, that you may be considering, or that you will be presented with. Will be. Yeah, it might not be exactly in your realm just yet, but this thing, it's wanting you to play with it. It's an energy that I'm feeling because part of the green ray is like I said, the heart and connection. It can be that essence of, if you allow yourself to kind of do that thing or go that place or enjoy, that something in you shifts vibrationally, where you can then, almost like, come into a different frequency of joy and aspect. I'm hearing it's like the thing you're not looking for that finds you. So the point is this, they're saying, is, and the energy like instantly like came down. There needs to be more joy. There needs to be a little more joy. I feel like this is an aspect of your essence, but perhaps in circumstances it may be harder to reach. Yeah. So if you start feeling the nudge for something, if something's calling to you, trust it. Okay. Try it out. What do you have to lose? Because I feel like there's a part of you that wants to feel a little more joy in that. Okay. All right, Jennifer, I'm going to disconnect from your energy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me take a peek in the chat and see. Um, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can do that. Do you want to give me a area of the life, a general idea of that, or no? It's totally up to you. Let me type that unless you respond before because you heard it. Okay. I think it affects everything. Okay, and so the other thing I'm going to say is I want to make sure, as you've seen in what maybe you just watched, I want permission to be able to be able to give you guidance. So if you can hear this, if you're giving me permission to connect to your energy for the purpose of answering this question about guidance during difficulties with inner turmoil, just type yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. And thank you for your name, Light. So I'm going to tune in to your energy, just like you saw me do a moment ago. And I'm going to see what comes through from your guides. And in case you mentioned being newer to this, so I'm going to give you a little more language than I may have in the last one. What I'm connecting to is the highest essence of your energy, yourself, your soul, the part of you that knows why it's here, knows what it's going through, that kind of spiritual sense of your inner self, higher self, is the language I would give you. So I'm going to connect to your higher self and ask for guidance. And this is not, this is only in accordance to highest frequency and of love and light to assist and be helpful in your journey. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. If you'll give me just a moment. If you can, if you're in a place you can, take a moment to breathe with me. Just all we're doing is we're kind of just grounding our energy, especially if life has felt difficult for you, and there has been challenges. Sometimes just taking that breath, like taking a pause and just allowing yourself to feel. I started off this video saying a few days ago, I had a panic attack. So we're all human. It happens. All right. Okay. So let me see what comes through. Okay. So the first thing I want to share with you is I feel as if your energy is in the void. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this term. I'm going to give a brief explanation of it for anybody listening that hasn't. A void is basically, you could say, a lot of people would see this as like dark or black. It's not bad. It's not, there's nothing wrong. It is an energy of death and rebirth, really. It is an energy of where everything creates. And this is what I'm feeling for you, is I'm feeling like where you are in this point is a very, think of the soil. Okay, the soil of the ground. It has to be in a particular essence for us to grow what we wish to grow. But it is the seeds in the darkness, in the void, that then sprout forth new light. This very much feels like part of the essence of where you are right now on your journey. And it can feel uncomfortable sometimes, as if you're being pulled at and tugged at, and things are raking you up. And all of this is kind of shuffling the dirt. But this is all part of aligning things to be in your highest expression, so that what wants to be birthed from you can be experienced. And when I say birthed from you, what I mean is that you feel lit up by life, that you feel completely satisfied, that you feel, whether it be intimate relationships, whether it be friendships, whether it be family, but that you're engaging in your life, participating in a way that feels like you're thriving, and you're having moments of joy, and you're opening up to all that you are, not just the parts that you feel people have wanted to see, not just the parts that you feel are, whether this is what they want me to be, or this is what I should be, or any of that language is falling away, and you're becoming into what you really truly are. And that feels very big. Hmm. Big meaning. There's a lot there. I feel like there's a depth to you too, that I'm not sure if you resonate with being empathic, but basically it's like you may sense, someone can say to you, you can say, how are you doing, which I talked about, this briefly in my last video. We ask each other, how are you doing? And people tend to say, like, I'm fine. Part of your essence, it feels like if someone was to come and say, I'm fine, you would probably maybe be able to tell they weren't exactly fine. And that is a gift. Not everybody has that. I will say I am not personally empathic, but there are a lot of people who are. I'm just tuning in to this frequency a little bit more for you. I think the essence of what wants to be really understood is it can be being in the midst of a storm, being in the midst of challenging times, being in the midst of things changing. And depending on where you are in your journey, it does feel like there will be changes. And this is beautiful. And everything, a very helpful thing that I know I hold on to every day. And I just want to invite you to see how you feel about this. But I don't know if you could see this. I have a tattoo. It's kind of hard to say, and I don't know, this screen is all wonky. Anyways, it says Wu Wei. Now, Wu Wei is a terminology in Chinese belief systems, and essentially it's said to be the path of least, kind of like the path of least resistance. What it means is that you chose to be here at this time with the connections you have, with the experiences you had, for a reason. And your soul knows exactly all the beautiful things that you want to have, all the beautiful things that you want to experience. And it knows the easiest and the best way to do that, to get there. So it's not about not doing anything, but it's about a sense of like surrender or ease that starts trusting the intuition, trusting the spirit, trusting God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, to when things come up for you, to begin to allow yourself to move in those directions because they're leading you in that path. And that path will be the quickest way to get you where you want. Now, when I say quickest, that doesn't always mean it's the easiest. It doesn't mean that it's the quickest in your opinion, but it is the most efficient, quickest way to get you to what your soul wants to experience. And I have this tattoo because I am stubborn. And this isn't because I've mastered it, it's because it's a constant reminder to me that to breathe in and to allow. And my life has brought me through many different changes. And I feel that what wants to be recognized and understood is that you have changes ahead, but they're all in accordance to your highest good. And your soul knows exactly what you want to experience and the quickest way to get there. So while you are in this void energy, if you allow yourself to honor where you are, I would say the other thing I feel is coming up is whenever you're in a challenging situation, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Okay. So a simple example. Maybe I have a friend and all of a sudden they snap at me to say, like, well, how dare you, blah, 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 and you don't this or that, whatever it is. But let's just say it was a quarrel with a friend. What's important is to consider in that moment, what stories am I telling myself? Maybe my friend just had an off day and was in a pissy mood, a bad mood. And so, it was just that and had nothing to do with me. But what if instead I was in that moment and I said, well, gosh, here's another situation in my life where someone's mad at me. I'm always too much. I'm always too loud. Those were my stories. I felt like I'm too much. I'm too loud. They don't understand me. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try to behave in the right way, that it always is pissing someone off. And all of a sudden now it's not about something between this. It's a deeper story. For years, I've been telling myself, Cassandra, you're too loud. People don't understand you. They're no matter what you do, you're not going to have friends, all of the things that start to spiral. So when you're in the void, remember it's death and rebirth. So looking at what are the stories, what are the things you're telling yourself that maybe you don't want to hold on to anymore. Maybe in that situation, I would say, you know what? I'm tired of like calling myself the, shitty friend or whatever. I'm tired of feeling like that person. I know that's actually not true about myself. I know I care a lot, and maybe she's just having a bad day, whatever it is, but it's just the willingness to kind of look at the shadow aspect of what could be, running under the surface to help us in growth. And I feel like what your guides want you to know is understand you are not alone. Not only are you not alone, you have many guides that are with you. And just like I talked about the Wu Wei, that your soul knows none of this is in vain, and you are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment. Okay, that's what I feel coming through. So if you're still with me, I would love to hear if anything I said was helpful or if it resonated. And I think this will be our last question for today. So while I'm waiting for that response, I just want to again thank you for everyone that's watching. And I will host another one of these, do another one of these soon in the next week or two. So if you can't make it at the live, like I said, post a question in the comment section and I will keep an eye on it and then come back to the next live to tune in to hear the reply. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm so glad that was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me. That this was so special for me too, because like I said, I'm here because I do want to connect and help. So I'm going to disconnect from your energy now. And I'm so glad that that was helpful. Beautiful. Okay, so thank you guys again. If you do have a question, put it in the comments and I will get to it hopefully on the next live. And thanks again for hanging out and feel free to share it even with a friend. More the merrier, right? Okay. All right. Have a lovely evening.